Okay, so this video is supposed to help you review for how to solve equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. So if you look at the first equation, that's this one over here, the first one, you notice that we have parentheses on the left side and parentheses on the right side. So we know that we're going to have to do the distributive property first. So the first thing I'm going to do anytime I do the distributive property is draw the arrows. That reminds me that I have to do two sets of multiplication. If I don't draw those arrows, I'm going to forget to do the second multiplication. And I know some of you are thinking, no, I'm not going to forget, I don't have to draw the arrows, that's stupid, that's childish. I've already seen it. We've been doing this for a week, and a lot of you are doing it. So draw the arrows. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 5 is plus 15. Equals, distributive property over here. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 2. You have to look at that minus sign. 5 times negative 2 is minus 10. Notice that I didn't write down that minus until after I did the multiplication. So I multiplied first 5 times negative 2, and then when the answer was a negative, that's when I drew the minus sign. That's how I want you to do it. You'll see why in the next problem. So now I have 6x plus 15 equals 5x minus 10. So this is an equation with variables on both sides of the equal sign. We want to get them together. When we solve an equation, we're trying to get the x by itself. To do that, they need to be on the same side of the equation. So the hint that we talked about in class was always move the smaller variable. So in this case, 5x is the smaller variable. So if I want to move it from the right side of the equation to the left side of the equation, I need to use inverse operations. So minus 5x, minus 5x. 6x minus 5x is 1x, but I can just write down x, plus 15 equals, and now what I saw a lot of you in class do was just write 10. That's not correct. If you look up here, it's a negative 10. So x plus 15 equals negative 10. Now that I have the x by itself, all I have to do is get rid of the plus 15 by doing minus 15, and I get x equals negative 25. Okay, let's look at the second equation now. If you notice again, we have parentheses on both sides. We're going to have to do the distributive property. In this one, we have to be really careful, because if you look over here, there's a negative number in front of the parentheses. So if you distribute, you have to be very careful about your negative and positive multiplication points. Negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. Now, this is where we have to be careful. Notice I'm not writing a plus or a minus yet. I'm going to multiply first. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. I can guarantee you that when you're going quickly, if you go too fast, you're going to write this. Negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. Oh, there's a minus sign, so I'm going to put that. And 2 times 4 is 8. And you're going to get this. Well, that's very different. This is wrong. So the trick when you're doing the distributive property is to multiply first and then write down the sign. Equals, distributive property again, 3 times 2x is 6x, 3 times 2x is plus 6. Now, we have variables on both sides, so I have a negative 4x over here, 6x over here. If I draw the wall, they're on opposite sides. I need them to be on the same side. So to do that, I need to move the smaller variable. So the smaller variable is obviously the negative 4x. In order to move negative 4x from here to the other side of the equation, I need to do inverse operations. So go to do plus 4x 8 equals 10x plus 6. Now it's just a two-step equation. Circle the term that has the variable in it and don't touch it. Leave it alone. You need to get rid of the plus 6 first by doing minus 6. So I have 2 equals 10x. And then to get the x by itself, I need to divide both sides by 10. And I get x equals 2 over 10. Notice that when I divide by 10, it already made a fraction. You can leave it, but you have to simplify. 2 over 10 can be written as 1 over 5. So that's the final answer. Now, 1 over 5 is a decimal is 0.2. So you got that. That's also correct, but we need to get used to fractions because in Unit 2, we're going to be using fractions a lot for a very specific reason. Now, you should have these questions written down in your notebook with all the work shown because if you don't write it down, just watching this isn't going to help. You're supposed to put this in your notebook so that you can reference it and you can remember doing it. So after doing this video and after you writing down these notes, you really should be able to come in and do 2 questions that look very similar to these questions. Hint, hint. Okay? If you have questions, you know my email, mrzuckerbrow@gmail.com. You know how to contact me. Or you should be writing down questions and showing them to me before class starts. Before the bell rings, come to me in the hallway and go, I have a question on this. I'll either say, okay, wait inside, or I'll answer it. But if you have my email, if you're confused about anything, please ask questions. So like I said, you should be able to come in and answer 2 questions that look just like this one. Good luck.